Now more than ever, innovative technologies are fueling change and sparking new ways of thinking. Collaboration between corporations and startups is key to staying at the forefront of these trends. However, finding the right startups can be expensive, time-consuming, and ineffective. But Plug and Play is here to help. As a corporate partner, you will gain access to a whole ecosystem of innovation. Discover startups that meet your tech interests. Stay updated on the latest trends and network with industry peers. We will help you during every stage of your innovation journey, no matter where you are and where you want to go. Get in touch today.
Okay. Hello, good morning. We are going to go ahead and get started. We're so glad that you came out this morning. I was reflecting, last time we had an expo, we asked you to drive roughly 20 minutes out of town to an undisclosed location. This time, we asked you to meet in the basement of a bank. So cheers to you for showing up. I mean, honestly, I'd have been concerned with that Google Calendar invite, but I'm impressed that you came. Like we said, we're super jazzed to have you here this morning for the 4th Plug and Play Expo. My name is Emma McIntyre. I am your certified community cheerleader for this morning.
And I'm Camille Grady. I serve as the Chief Market Officer at Bushel, headquartered in Fargo, North Dakota. I've been on the team for about 8 years there. So I feel it deeply in the work that the startups are doing within the ag tech space because I've been doing it for about 8 years now. And I'm a little grayer. I'm about 20 pounds more on me because of it, but we're still trucking away. So excited to be here and get going today.
Heck yes. Well, you'll jump into our agenda for the day.
All right, so everybody had the opportunity to get a program today. We've also got the agenda up here. So we're gonna kick off and with a keynote this morning with Aaron. Then we'll go into some startup pitch sessions. We're gonna have the opportunity to do some Q&A with each of these groups that come up during the pitch sessions. And end with another keynote. We've got a couple of awards in there too. And we'll try and wrap up by 12:30 because we're gonna have lunch at that time. Just a reminder, you do have a QR code in the agenda that you can scan and submit questions to. So if you have questions for any of the panels that'll be up here this afternoon, use the QR code and submit questions. If during the panels we don't get through all of the questions that are submitted, the Plug and Play team will send them along to each of the panels and the startups, and they can respond to them and then communicate back directly. So we'll make sure that we'll get all your questions answered. All right, well, we're gonna dive in and get going here. So excited to bring Aaron Mageheim up here to the stage today. He's the founder of Agtech Insight, a global full-spectrum ag and tech implementation consulting and advisory firm. In 2020, he also helped launch Growers Insight to help farmers, food companies, and institutional investors through innovation. But in my half-baked internet research, I also found that Aaron is from Salinas, California, so about an hour and a half south of the Bay Area there. And that is what they call the salad bowl of the world because of all of the fruit, of the vegetables grown there, grapes. We've got some floral things there, some vegetables. And your father started an irrigation business. So you've had the opportunity to work a lot with farmers and help them with some of the irrigation problems, which obviously is a hot topic right now everywhere, but very much so in California. Yeah, so glad to have you here. Thanks, Aaron.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Good morning. Yeah, you know, I've had some interesting opportunities, and I have to say I've been blessed to be able to experience some of the things that I've seen. You know, I've had the opportunity to travel to about 25 countries in the last 7-8 years, all around ag technology, speaking and working with clients across the ecosystem. I've been to Asia 65 times, I've been to Latin America a dozen times, Israel, Europe, other places around the world. And so I've been able to go from Salinas irrigation guy's son to understanding, you know, this global ecosystem around technology and what's happening and how a small farmer in the Philippines will handle a problem versus a large grower in Illinois. And so I've really had opportunity to come from, first time I went to Silicon Valley, I didn't know what a VC was. I went to the first Silicon Valley Agtech conference. I'm like, what's a VC? All these crazy startups and technology people were saying, we want to know about farmers. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. This is all new to me. And so I started Agtech Insight in 2014. I didn't know what we were going to do. I just knew that we needed to figure out this whole new industry. Since then, we started Growers Insight to help focus on farmers and food companies, helping them understand where the industry is going and how they can internally use these technologies. I'm an advisor for Verdant Partners. I think the M&A side is something that we're all starting to see, and it's going to become a huge portion of the industry as we move forward. So what's happening in the ag industry? Collaboration, integration, consolidation. These three things are things that 5 years ago I talked about collaboration and everybody was like, I'm going to be the #1 platform. I don't need anybody else. And I think companies realize that that's not the case these days. So I feel like 5 years ago we needed more technology in ag. Today we have just about everything we need for the next few years, but the industry does not know how to use it. So how do we help people understand how to use the products that you guys are building? That's kind of our mission, and that's what we need to focus on. So everybody loves to talk about all the fun, exciting tech things, but the reality is planning and people. None of this stuff works without the right plan, the right execution, and the right people. So we tend to forget about that, especially when we talk about technology. But you can put a robot in the field, you can put a tablet in a truck, but if people don't pick it up and use it, it's not ever going to go anywhere. We built this kind of farm management solutions map as a way to help people understand that there's a lot of moving pieces to an ag organization. As we saw yesterday in the touring the sugar facilities, there's a lot of moving parts, and that's actually not real complicated compared to some other organizations. So there's a lot of things going on, and so start thinking about where you fit and how these things work together. We have a database of about 4,000 digital technology companies around the world. And we have our ecosystem landscape on our website. There's an interactive version. You can go on and click on each company and it takes you to their website. So it's a really neat tool to understand who's out there, what they're doing. And we're getting ready to update that and add another dozen categories and stuff. So there's some really neat tools out there, but understanding kind of where you fit, I think, is really important. Now, today we kind of have this, bicycle wheel that's busted up, actually looks like mine did a couple of weeks ago. And so this is what we have today. We have all these companies doing great things, but they're all pieces. Everybody's running down their own track. In order to have success, we need each company to say, this is the spoke I am, this is the color I am, this is my little ecosystem, this is who we work with, and really start putting that wheel together, because the bicycle is not going to roll real good with that wheel on the left. So I've talked about this a number of times through the years. You need to collaborate with people. Why? Figure out who your 2 or 3 companies upstream and downstream from you are. So you may be selling a boat. You're going to a farmer saying, hey, I got the best boat. You can take your family out. You can go fishing. I've got this boat. It's the best one on the market. And he's like, that's great. I love your boat, but I need a truck today. I don't need a boat. And so you're just going to go hammer your head against the wall. I've done this a lot of times through the years. You'll eventually either bust through the wall or give up. If you bust through the wall and you sell them a boat first, you're putting the boat in front of the truck, and you can't tow a truck with a boat. So you need to think about what comes first. And so if you surround yourself with companies that are upstream and downstream collaborative technologies, and you say, hey, I'm selling boats, and he goes, that's great, but I need a truck. And you go, hey, my buddy sells trucks. He sells the best trucks around. You say, you make an introduction. He buys a truck. A month later, he says, now I need your boat. And you have a lifelong customer. You have someone that understands that you're there for their best interest, not for your sale. So what are you selling? Are you selling a product, a service, or what type of thing are you selling? you need to really understand their business. And I spent my first 7, 8 years selling technologies in agriculture, not understanding this. I would sell a weather station or an ERP or an imaging system because that's what they said they needed, but I didn't understand how it was going to be used. So we need to take a step back and understand what their bigger business is and where they're going and how you can help be that partner. So they don't want tons of solutions. They want to find the few people that want to help them grow their business, not fix one little problem. So, are you creating value throughout that supply chain? Each player through the supply chain, it's getting more interconnected. As we've seen with COVID, there's lots of issues with how it's been run in the past, but these data sets, you got to think of it more than just for the farmer or just for the processor. You got to think about how this is going to provide value across the entire chain. So this isn't just a, hey, let's get in, let's get out and move on. It's a, how do we partner with you for a long time? So a couple of examples of what we've been doing, we grow our businesses in a way that we can make changes and move with what makes sense for the industry. And so we rolled out Growers Insight a couple of years ago to help companies understand where they need to go and why. So we do operational succession planning. We hear succession planning quite a bit, but it's legal succession planning. It's who's going to get the farm when someone dies or someone gets hit by a bus or what happens. But we don't talk about the operational succession side of things in any organization. And so that's a piece in agriculture that we really need to focus on. And then innovation, and then also just how are things done? We don't have standard operating procedures. We think because we're dealing with weather and markets and all this stuff that we can't have a standard operating procedure. We can build a framework that'll cover a really good portion of it and then understand that when the certain triggers move, then we enact this opportunity or enact another one. So, you have to start asking these questions, and I'm sure some of you do ask these questions of yourselves or your customers, but you really have to dive into them a little bit deeper. So what are your differentiators? How are you helping customers actually execute on their plans? You can give them a widget, you can sign up users, but how are they actually using this? How is it helping their bottom line of their business? We do a lot of data-driven stuff, and this is something that I wish I had as a tool for selling irrigation, for selling technologies, understanding where people's opportunities are. And, this question, how well informed are you about what's happening across your organization? CEOs, CFOs, COOs don't typically know what's going on a day-to-day basis in their operations or have any visibility into it. So you need to start understanding how the operation's set up and where your processes can help them. We build these standard operating procedures. So this is like, what is your recipe for growing this crop? What is your recipe for delivering this product to your customers? And so, being able to lay it out in a graphical manner that everybody can see and understand, all of a sudden, this is a conversation piece. It helps people really connect and figure out, like, how do we do this and how do we grow? This becomes a format that software companies can use to figure out, what are we doing here? How are we going to implement? Who's involved, etc. And then, building out doesn't have to be super detailed, but let's prioritize this stuff based off of our people, based off of our needs. Let's kind of build out, a integration timeline. What's the common need in all of this stuff? It's not technology. The technology's figured out. The common need is the support structure, and that's the piece that where we pick up, but it's a piece that people really need to think about because, again, none of this works without the support. So how will you help scale this stuff? Think past your technologies. This is the other thing that we've launched through Agtech Insight. There's great incubators out there, there's great programs like this and accelerators, but how do you really get out there? I want to see companies doing $50 million of sales, not a $50 million exit or valuation. And so how do we get there? So we're basically put together kind of took all the things we've done for a number of years and put it into a data-driven format, combination between growth strategy and being able to help really get to know a company, where they're at, scale up companies that say, you know, I'm ready to go, but I'm just still trying to figure out how to get there. And the point of this is to kind of build these ecosystems of companies that can work together both on a sales structure and on a technology structure, and be able to bring them into a referral network. So you can, as a startup, say, hey, my buddy that sells trucks, I'm going to introduce you, and you can get a few % of whatever those sales are. So it's kind of a network effect of referrals. You can also be a crop consultant in Latin America and say, hey, you know, I don't want to spend a year and 3 pilots to figure out what technology to use. I'm going to go straight to Certified to Grow and understand that, hey, these companies have been looked at in a different way from a user standpoint. So this is something that we're just soft launching right now. There's nothing on our website, but it's kind of our idea of helping kind of grow that ecosystem, and we're bringing in partners and happy to have conversations around that. So, you know, lastly, kind of think ecosystems. You know, which spoke are you? Stay in your lane. Get really, really, really good at doing one small thing. That's what you need to focus on. Who do you collaborate with? You know, what is your M&A strategy? Which side are you going to be on? What does that look like for your organization? Do you truly understand your customers' bigger picture? You know, focus on solving problems, not selling things. If you solve problems, you will sell things along the way. And then, you know, the world is yours. So step back, take a look at it, build your ecosystem, build your plan, and execute. So thanks a lot for letting me have a few minutes of your time. I'm happy to answer a couple of questions. And there's some good resources on our website. And yeah, thanks. Looking forward to the rest of the day. So, how do you filter through the universe of thousands of Agtech startups? I'd like to think, and we're working on something where we could actually automate some of this using some machine learning, using a Microsoft platform with a partner. So that's one way that in the future, hopefully we'll be able to leverage. Right now, it's a lot of these events, way too many phone calls, way too many demos, that type of stuff. So you have to, I always say that, you know, the technology that walks through your door is probably not the right technology for you, but it's the one that walked through your door, or your friend said that they used or they heard about, and that's the one that you use. So you have to really focus on what are the first 2 to 3 things, and go out and find those companies, work with organizations like this, and you know, and at the end of the day, you have to have a process for it. So just getting on a call, listening to a couple things and saying, I like this one, raise your hand, it's not the process that we should be taking. So, and then, do you expect founders to have an ag background? No, I do expect them to have good ag people on their team, and to be able to understand their customer and understand their competitor even as well as their own business, or even better. So you don't need to have an ag background. I actually think that you don't, you know, that it's better not to, because you gotta get a fresh set of eyes into it, but you better dang well know your customer and what the problems are you're solving, because otherwise you're just not gonna get anywhere. So anyways, I've taken enough of your time. I appreciate the conversation, and look forward to the rest of the day. Thank you.
Awesome. Congratulations. Flubum, sir? Yes. Oh, okay. Well, thank you so much. Next up, we will hear from our first group of startup pitches, which will be TraceX, Rize, FaBio, and Vegemite, and yeah, MX. Yep, there we go. I'm going to screw a few more of those up, so be prepared for that. So we'll head to the videos.
Greetings from TraceX Technologies. TraceX is digitizing the food and agriculture ecosystem for a safer, transparent, and traceable supply chain. Consumers are willing to switch brands that practice sustainability and transparency. Also, agribusinesses incur significant losses due to supply chain issues. Increasing regulation and push towards ESG climate change is compelling agri-food businesses to adopt technology to drive supply chain transparency and traceability. TraceX leverages technologies like blockchain to bring all participants in the supply chain onto the shared distributed digital ledger, creating a single version of the truth. By making it organized, connected, fully secure, with all the data being conveniently verifiable, hence providing credibility to the claims across the supply chain. The technology platform consists of multilingual offline farm management module, a comprehensive food processing and manufacturing workflow system, traceability leveraging the blockchain network. A simple QR code scan can provide the entire provenance journey across the supply chain. The solution caters to various agri-food value chains. The entire platform is API-enabled and easily integrates with IoT and ERP systems, making it cost-effective and fast to deploy. Agri and food businesses and D2C consumer brands use the solution to bring transparency and traceability into their supply chains. We work with over 27 B2B customers. SaaS-based pricing model caters to all range of customers. The market opportunity for food traceability is growing to $26 billion by 2025. We are clocking over $150K in annual recurring revenues, currently looking to raise our seed round. The team consists of technology and agribusiness experts with a 20-member strong team driving product development and sales. Thank you for the opportunity, plug and play. Look forward.
Hi, I'm Etienne, the CEO of Rize. Our mission is to accelerate the adoption of regenerative agriculture. We believe that sustainable development is not only about the environment, it's also about engaging people. And that's why we believe that finance is a key piece of the transition. At Rize, we make farmers' journey easy into carbon finance. On our platforms, farmers, in exchange for their data, can understand their carbon footprint, the levers they can implement to improve their carbon footprint, and receive financing for their climate action, which will be based on carbon credits and price premiums based on low carbon supply chains, while reinforcing the existing ecosystem. Not only while financing farmers, but we're also providing carbon monitoring tools to their advisors and are powering the supply chains with carbon traceability. We're using a mix of different technologies, from a digital platform, advanced carbon monitoring technologies such as carbon footprint, advanced soil modeling, and satellite imagery, and finally are using robust certification frameworks. Today, it's just a no-brainer for farmers to join us. We've got more than 200 farms on our platform, and more than 10 partners are currently deploying our solutions. Our team of 10 is expanding fast, and what makes Rize special is a tech leadership, the use of robust certification frameworks, and our ability to deploy at large scale our solutions through partnerships. So if you're looking to engage your farmers and join us, we're happy to connect.
Hi, I'm Ángela de Manzanos-Guinot, CEO of FaBio, previously known as Fungaler, and we are revolutionizing sustainable agriculture with the discovery of superior microbes. And we do that using our patented SporeSense technology, a unique tool to study soil microbes. The SporeSense contains compounds that mimic the root exudate. So when it's placed in the soil, it attracts microbes that are normally attracted to the root zone, and it captures a sample of those microbes that are active and dominant in the soil. SporeSense then comes back to our laboratory, where we do a species identification analysis, and we collect a sample of those microbes. We have carried out over 2,000 SporeSense analyses from soils all over the world in all types of crops. At BioAg, we design SporeSense microbial sampling campaigns targeting crops and conditions of interest. And we carry out spore sense analysis in order to collect microbial isolates associated with these crops and conditions. Our scientists then carry out genomic and bioinformatic studies in order to identify those microbial isolates with biofungicide or biofertilizer potential. We then do in vitro studies and early scalability trials, which are followed by glasshouse trials in order to validate the activity of those microbial candidates. We are shortcutting the discovery phase to deliver superior microbial products from years to months. Fungeler, or FaBio, was founded in 2016 while we were completing our PhDs at Imperial College London. We are now based at Rothamsted Research Centre, and we are a great and growing team. We are continuously looking for collaborators in order to carry out spore sense microbial studies, in order to help crops produce more with less using soil microbes.
What if we lived in a world where sustainability was no longer a goal, but a reality? Vegamax, integrating science and technology for sustainable solutions. Hi, I'm Penelope Nagel, 9th generation farmer and partner of Vegamax for a holistic solution to soil health and profitability. The catalyst for change towards sustainability takes science, technology, and funding. There are many Agtech platforms to enhance sustainability practices, but they're often cumbersome, provide too much unactionable data, and don't promote sustainable practices via monetary incentives. Easy-to-use risk management platforms is what we've developed. Our plug-and-play platform combines soil health diagnostics with access to capital markets to promote stewardship for our lands and our world, combining fintech and agtech to support actionable precision agriculture for healthy soils, healthy food, healthy people, and a healthy world. Our revenue model is based on licensing agreements to banks, fertilizer companies, ag lenders, and other input retailers who can promote sustainability through risk mitigation. Our team is made up of a number of partners with extensive experience in ag tech, fintech, and sustainability. We're raising $4 million to integrate additional technologies for a dual revenue approach of combining ag tech with fintech for a precision ag solution. Please join us. Making the world a better place through access to capitals and information from science-based research.
Fantastic. Well, we're going to invite those individuals up onto the stage for a Q&A. If you have questions, please use that QR code to send them in. They'll pop up here. So we'll be hearing from Anil, Atia, Angela, and Penny.
And we've got them virtually.
Yes. Hey, guys. Welcome to Fargo.
Hello.
Oh, my goodness. This is so snazzy. Well, I do see that we have... Oh, hello. Take a seat. I do have allergies, so my sincere apologies for the stuffy nose. Oh, you also have allergies? Oh. Allergic allergies. Oh, nice, perfect. Well, to get us started, we're going to actually kick off with a question that we have up here, and then we'll jump to the screen with our QR questions. The first question for you all is, what has been the #1 challenge or risk for your company?
Primarily, we have been looking for, when we started the company, that AgTech was an exceedingly important component. We had experience in AgTech, for example, in the relation to the weather forecasting, soil moisture measurements, or the leaf nutrition measurements. But the most important thing which was missing, which was basically soil nutrition analytics. And that's where finding a person like Penny was very important for us. And fortunately, we found her, and now she's our partner in giving up that. So we have a service to develop the service across from starting the nutrition of the soil all the way across the food tech was something which was very important for us, which we have been developing.
Anything to add to that?
I think that I've seen a lot of platforms out there, and I think Aaron really touched on that. So thank you for the introduction to what we're trying to create, which is an aspect that not one of us is going to take the market. I think in order to achieve the sustainable development goals that we have out there, we need buy-in from the farmers. So we need to make it profitable for farmers to use the technology. And in order to do that, we need to integrate and each take a piece of the puzzle. So we're working with Vegamax. I'm from Persistence Data Mining, the Soiltech solution that uses hyperspectral technology in order to map nutrients on a more granular level. And by working together, it's one of the SDGs or Sustainable Development Goals that I think people often overlook, which is that we all need to work together to create a solution.
Let's jump to the individuals on the screen. If you guys wouldn't mind answering the same for us, which is, oh man, face recognition, that's snazzy. What has been the #1 challenge or risk for your company? So I can't quite see everybody's names first. Let's head to Anil.
Hey, hi, greetings from India. And one of our biggest challenges was to hire and retain some really critical talent. As a startup, we are always constrained with resources, and that was one of our initial challenges. But then it moved on to getting really early adopters and working with customers to prove the solution that we could attract enough value and partners onto the system. So that was something that was a really hard period initially. But once that went through, then we could progress much more effectively. So that's been one of our largest challenges as we built the company. Yeah.
Awesome. How about Etienne?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Anil. On our side, I think the hardest challenge was indeed to hire such an amazing team. And I believe what enabled us to do this was to have a clear mission with beliefs, and to align this with, as well, a clear vision, a clear business model, and align this again with our core values at Rize. And this is what has attracted such talent to Rize. And I'm really proud from like 3 people creating the company just 1 year ago with no experience in agriculture, from receiving the feedback this morning from partner that were the best solution that they've seen in the French market. Is such a huge proof of the quality of the team we've hired around the project.
Awesome. And then Angela, if you wouldn't mind wrapping us up there.
Yeah, so I think for us, the biggest challenge was definitely growing the team and finding the right people, and it's still one of the biggest challenges ahead. But as well, finding a way that we will deliver our vision and it will create value for growers. So initially, we were doing soil microbial analysis and realized that the value for growers wasn't really there. The value for growers was trying to help finding sustainable solutions for growers. That's what they were demanding. And we pivoted, and I guess it was a big challenge, but at the end of the day, it was a great success as well.
Great. We had a question come in from the group here, specifically for Etienne, and it's around this idea, carbon markets are not a new thing. So in your mind, what is different this time around, and are there any specific geographies that are more interested in credits?
Yeah, well, I think carbon markets are new to agriculture in a way that the first certification systems and frameworks have been Vera in 2020, the Label Bas Carbone in France in 2021, and many others that are going to come in the coming years. So it's very new to agriculture in that sort of high standard of monitoring. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is that we've seen a lot of companies worldwide taking pledges around their carbon footprint, which takes into account not only how much reduction they will make, but also how much offsets they are going to buy. And we can quote companies such as Google, Stripe, Microsoft as well. So many of those companies have done this, and we see that the trend is really good at the moment in Europe, with prices skyrocketing on the voluntary carbon market in Europe. So Europe is definitely on a good dynamic for carbon markets.
We got another question in virtually, and just a little reminder that if you have questions, you can submit them via QR code in your brochures. This one will head back to our virtual screen, which is, Angela, you've made a pivot recently. Would you mind talking about what drove that change?
Sure. So originally we were doing soil microbial analysis using our patented technology, the Spore Sense. However, we realized working with growers that we were actually collecting very interesting microbes that had activity as biofungicides and biofertilizers. And growers were telling us, well, you collect these microbes that have biofungicide activity in my fields, and I apply this biofungicide and it's not working. If it comes from my soil, for sure it's going to be effective in my crops. Why don't you give it to me? So with that realization, we pivoted and we started using the microbes that we collect with our Spore Sense as active ingredients for biofungicides and biofertilizers.
Great. Maybe for each of the panelists, it can be a lot of incremental wins along the way as you're first entering the market, or maybe deciding whether to pivot or persevere within a market. Each just taking a couple of sentences, what are some of the biggest wins, or what are some of the things that you've been most proud of thus far?
So I'll start. Oftentimes I've seen that things that appear to be a loss are actually a win. We had a field trial that started 4 years ago, and it was not as successful as we had hoped. Fortunately, perseverance reigned true, and what we did is find a new discovery on building out our algorithm. So again, once in a while, and I would say most often than not, those things that appear to be failures are actually successes if you can persevere through that problem and solve it.
That's great. How about Anil in our virtual group over here?
Hey, great, thanks. So one of our biggest moments that we've been very proud of is right in the middle of the pandemic. We signed up a very large customer, everything done virtually. That really gave us the confidence that digital is the way forward, virtual is acceptable, and really put a lot of confidence in the entire team and the whole system. That's something that really helped us also convince a lot more customers post that event that we can really make this happen. And this is the new normal. We're not going to go back to a world where everything was pre-COVID, right? We could travel everywhere freely and so on. So the idea again there was we were able to deliver a lot of clear, articulate value to the customer that really helped them make their entire supply chain transparent, build credibility to the claims that they were able to do, and really help them grow their business very effectively. That's something that we've been very proud of and continue to replicate many more of those. Thank you.
That's great. We'll go to Etienne and then Anha.
Yeah, definitely. What I'm proud of is the speed at which we've implemented our solution and the level of simplification that we've brought to the market. Because not only it's really hard, there are a lot of different technologies that exist that we had to learn from scratch around how do you monitor carbon, and we've made one of the best infrastructure in the European market. Understanding the carbon certification frameworks as well is a nightmare. And finally, navigating the voluntary carbon markets are also a skill in itself. And packaging all of this into a platform that make it understandable by the farmers and the whole farming ecosystem in such a way that they can implement it is definitely something we're really proud of at Rize.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, so I will just jump on. So for us, the biggest success, I think, has been surviving COVID, convincing investors about our mission to back us up. And then now with this new business model, signing licensing agreements, having partnerships, strategic partners that believe in us, I think that's our biggest success. And definitely having a great team of dedicated people that work very hard to deliver our vision.
That's great. anything to add to the final or the successes?
We, as I said earlier also, we had to put together an Agtech solution completely. That has been, and that we addressed, and it took some time. And during the COVID time, in part, it was even more difficult. However, we have tested all of these things in the market as POCs. So we are looking primarily for the funding for putting this whole thing in a single platform to give integrated result services.
Great.
Just say if we don't have any other QR questions, we've talked about wins and challenges in the last year. Can you mind setting the stage, and we'll kind of run through in the same way that we have before. Would you mind setting the stage on your vision for the next, say, 2 years?
So we're currently in a pilot deployment. Last week, we actually got another 180,000 acres under contract, so we're pretty excited about that. And we're testing out our machine learning. We've been slow in the development process because we wanted to make sure that we were deploying true science. A lot of investors don't like that, but for a sustainable company, you need to have the actual technology. What I see that we're creating is something that is so amazing and world-changing that it takes time to create something great. So for the next 2 years, we look forward to commercializing and integrating new technologies, and some of those technologies are in this room right now, so that we can all be a part of something greater. I think there was a question that said, what gets you out of bed in the morning? I have an agricultural background, and in our family, it's about saving the land. So we all know that we have a short stint on this planet, but keeping my farm and my family is something that's important to me. And the technology that we're developing will do that.
I think I'd heard you were ninth generation.
Ninth generation
Yeah.
farmer, daughter of the American Revolution. So
That's
yes.
incredible. I'm third generation, and you've tripled us. Yeah, that's great.
If I may add, we have about 5 million farmers who are potentially customers, because we need to put together the platform so that we can give them integrated service. These 5 million farmers are in India for small farms, and so they are basically waiting for us to deploy the platform so that the whole service can be presented to them.
Well, we'll jump to our virtual screens. Etienne, if you wouldn't mind kicking us off, and then we'll run through everybody else as well.
Yeah, definitely. What's our plan and our vision for the next, let's say, two years is, one, keep improving our product. We really want to simplify as much as possible carbon finance for farmers. That's really our mission, to enable them to go into that transition. And improving the farmer's journey, first in France. France is our lab at the moment, and we really want to make sure that every single step is as simple as just a click. Then we will definitely look at expanding internationally, probably first in Europe and then possibly in the US. And obviously we have plenty of ideas that should come as new products in the coming month or years. And especially we believe that carbon credits are just for a transition, but low carbon supply chains are much more important to the future of the food industry.
Okay. Let's head to Anil and then wrap up with Angela.
Great, thank you. So for it's very clear we are looking at furthering our innovation, build our tech stack to cover a lot more in the agri and food supply chain. On one side, keep the innovation engine growing, and also ensure that our growth, both domestically as well as international, is rapidly expanding. We are in the middle of a larger round of fundraise now, so look to deploy that to grow our sales non-linearly as well into the market, and also ensure that we have a network effect, bring more partners, bring more participants onto our chain, and prove the value a lot more clearly in many of the new value chains that we are now experimenting. We already operate in value chains like organic to poultry, and now we're looking to expand to meat and livestock and fisheries and so on. So it's really quite an exciting 12 to 18 months ahead of us. So look forward to that journey. Thank you.
Perfect. So for me, our next coming challenge is we are going to raise a Series A investment next year, and that's going to allow us to grow the team. I hope that in 2 years' time, we'll be around 39 people. And that's basically going to allow us to do sports and sampling campaign every 6 months. So we are going to be able to find many microbial candidates that our partners are going to be able to deliver into products. And also my hope is that the microbes that we are now studying in 2 years' time will be in the farmers' fields.
Great. And we're wrapping up on time here for the panel, but maybe just a quick, what's one piece of advice that you have for your other cohort members in here from this group? What's one piece of advice that you'd like to pass along?
This is a terrible piece of advice, but if you're in this for the money, you're probably in the wrong space. If you're in this for the passion of doing the right thing for the right reasons, I've been quoted a number of times that when we do the right thing for the right reasons, the right things happen. And my passion for sustainability and for good, nutritious food is one of the reasons why I'm here. I think that the end prize, if you're looking just to make a quick buck, probably just go into real estate or something. You know, that's a good profitable way to make money. But really being in ag tech is about having the passion and the perseverance to go out and be in the field, talk to the people, and really become a part of this ecosystem.
Great. We'll go just real quickly, Anil, Anha, Etienne, your piece of advice.
Right. I think I can just share my experience rather than advise. I would just say, stick on to what you're doing. You're on a great path. Bad days happen, but it's not going to last too long. The world is moving towards more sustainability, moving towards, I think we all have the opportunity to make the world a very better place. So I think we're all doing all the right stuff. So stick around, and I think it'll be a wonderful, fun ride. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, not very sure if I'm the right person to give advice, but definitely I second what Anil said, and Penelope, to stay true to your values and to your mission. But for me, most important, and what I want from this cohort, is to keep in touch. Let's maintain the network, because we don't know when we can meet in the future or how we can collaborate together.
Thank you.
Okay, so nothing new on my side. I can't agree more with everything that has been said. Entrepreneurship is definitely a game of resilience. It's so exciting, but at the same time, it's so hard. And you really need to believe in your mission. You really need to understand why you're doing that every single day, and why you believe in what you're doing. And when you have a mission, when you're passionate, you don't go to work. You actually deploy a vision, you deploy what you came to do. So I would say mission is really important as an entrepreneur.
Great.
Wonderful. Sweet. Well, I think that concludes our panel, considering that we don't have any more questions. So thank you so much, panelists. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you for calling in virtually. And then we'll leave those microphones here.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Perfect. Oh, I think if we leave them, they'll take care of it. No worries.
All right. Thanks again, everyone. We have our next panel. We're going to start again with some short videos to introduce everyone. And then we do have, I think, most everyone here for an in-person panel, which is great. And so we're going to see Arva Intelligence, Nutrient Recovery and Upcycling, Rowbot, ChrysaLabs, and LeaftechAg. So enjoy the videos, and we'll hop back up here in a few minutes.
Thank you, Plug and Play, for giving us the opportunity to tell our story. Arva provides the most comprehensive data and AI platform in agriculture. We empower the supply chain with technology to improve efficiency and eliminate waste and generate carbon offset credits. Our mission is to make agriculture more sustainable and profitable for growers while helping the agriculture achieve its potential to draw down 14% of total U.S. greenhouse gas emissions. We deliver scalable predictive analytics to optimize genetics by environment, fertility, and biological bioenvironment, while also generating these new revenue streams for environmental assets. We are B2B to ag suppliers for our automated agronomics and carbon markets. Since rolling out our alpha release in November of 2020, we have onboarded 750,000 acres in our Carbon Ready program. Ongoing research is foundational at Arva, and we continue to advance the opportunities for sustainable agriculture through our Arva E Smart Farm project and collaboration, research and development agreements with Lawrence Berkeley National Labs. We're seeking $8 to $12 million in this funding to scale our Carbon Ready program, to scale our engineering and sales teams, as well as to accelerate the IP pipeline and patent disclosures. Ag is a gigaton carbon opportunity. Arva connects a fragmented carbon supply market directly with carbon buyers. Our technology is unique in delivering agronomics and environmental benefits and is not easily replicated by the competition. We have a world-class team to execute this plan and make a lasting impact on ag communities and the environment. Thank you, Plug and Play, for this opportunity.
Hello, my name is Mageheim and I'm the president of Nutrient Recovery and Upcycling. And what we're doing is reducing the cost of wastewater treatment through the recovery of valuable resources and improving the environment all at the same time. Currently, the state of the wastewater treatment industry around the world is dismal, and that results in water pollution of all kinds, especially with phosphorus and nitrogen, which causes overgrowth of algae in bodies of water. This results in dead zones where aquatic life cannot live. What we're trying to do is concentrate the phosphorus and nitrogen at the wastewater treatment plant, recover it, and then create valuable products so that we can push that back into food production. The way we do this is sell equipment to wastewater treatment plants, then recover those minerals such as phosphorus and nitrogen and sell them to agricultural companies and farmers. Our first technology is called Calprex, and it can recover 50% of the total phosphorus in a wastewater sludge. And it produces a valuable mineral called brushite with 18% phosphorus by weight. For every $2 of cost savings that we provide the facility, there's also $1 worth of fertilizer produced. Our nitrogen recovery technology can recover between 25 and 50% of total nitrogen in a waste stream, and also provides additional cost savings and 12 times as much nitrogen recovery than our nearest competitor. We've launched our fertilizer brand called Steady State, and we've sold over $30,000 worth of phosphorus fertilizer that we've recovered through our pilots. Up to date, we've raised $3.37 million to commercialize our technology, and we're looking for new strategic partners and investors so we can scale our business. Our team is composed of myself and 2 co-founders who have enormous experience in the industry, as well as 2 employees. We've participated in numerous accelerators and received grants from the USDA SBIR program and our first investment through a corporate partner, Centrisa CMP. Please join us in helping us scale our business and have a bigger impact on the environment.
Hi, I'm Kent, CEO of Rowbot. Excited to be here to talk to you today about the future of farming. We're bringing small machines to large-scale farms so that we can drive profitability, stewardship, and productivity. Importantly, we're doing work and combining that with data collection so we can do that work more effectively, more adaptively. We're focused on row crops and specifically corn, the nation's largest crop. Here's what it looks like from above. Our small machine operating on a field in northeastern Iowa, seeding cover crops as part of our major milestone of seeding 100 acres fully autonomously. Several months later, this is what that field looked like with a beautiful stand of cereal rye, building soil health for the grower who was delighted with the outcome. Where we've been, we've done hundreds of acres semi-autonomously, and most recently, we've done 100 acres for 5 customers across the Midwest, seeding cover crops on those fields of standing corn. So the problem is that today's machines are getting ever larger to maximize the output per operator. However, there are unintended consequences. These big machines, they sink into the soil and they get locked out because the soil is too soft. They also have height constraint issues. We also believe that they don't treat the crops from the standpoint of what's best for the crop, but rather what's best for the operator and the equipment. In summary, we are seeking partners, both for investment and others in the ag sector. We're no longer a science project. We've been on 100 acres fully autonomously. We have a strong partnership with Carnegie Robotics. We're building our tech team, and we have seen very strong demand from the ag sector for what we are bringing in terms of small autonomous machines that can work in large-scale ag. Be delighted to talk to you further about Rowbot when you have a moment.
Good afternoon,
Thank you.
everyone. My name is Sam, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of ChrysaLabs. We have developed a portable and real-time soil health and fertility analysis solution to support agronomists in making better decisions faster. Soil is the backbone of agriculture. To make smart decisions, we need to understand the variability and complexity of the soil. Farmers are spending more than $200 billion on soil fertilizer every year. Maybe it's time we start wondering on the effect and the efficiencies of these practices. Therefore, we need to get access to a high number of accurate soil information because profitability and sustainability is starting from the ground up. The problem is that current technologies can't meet the need of the industry in terms of soil analysis. On one side, you have Whitcomb Labs, which are the gold standard in the industry but are slow and expensive. On the other hand, you have remote sensing and imagery, which are helpful to identify trends but are not enough accurate to make decisions on soil nutrition. This is why we have founded ChrysaLabs. We are bringing a real-time soil diagnosis tool directly in the field. Our portable device gives you every information about soil chemistry, NPK, CEC, minor nutrients, and soil health, organic matter, soil organic carbon, pH, etc. Dead simple to use, the probes are connected to an application where agronomists can have access to information within seconds. They see the result on the map and are able to better understand the situation underneath their feet. The company was founded in 2017. Last year, we were able to close our seed round to support this year's commercialization. We have around 200 probes on the market this season with more than 50 clients. We focus on ag service providers such as retailers and co-ops with their yearly subscription model. The technology was adopted in more than 7 provinces in Canada and 15 states in the US. We are initiating discussion for a 5 to 7 million Series A right now in order to put 500 probes on the market next season, 1,000 in 2023. If you believe soil health and fertility is the key to profitable and sustainable agriculture, please connect with us. We're looking forward to talk with customers, strategic partners, and investors. Thank you for listening and have a great day.
Hi, I'm John Masco, founder and CEO of LeaftechAg located in East Central Indiana. I want to invite you to join us on a journey to the digital transformation of crop nutrient management for improved stewardship. As farmers know, there's a short 10 to 14 day window of operation to address nutrient imbalances in a growing crop. To know what nutrients might be out of balance, a lab analysis of a composite sample of 15 to 20 leaves is collected from a large area. This takes about 3 to 5 days to process. With these results, a prescriptive recommendation is determined. Because of the limitations of timely analysis and lack of site-specific data, however, we fully underutilize site-specific application technologies and not achieve a crop's production potential, essentially solving Monday's problem on Friday, all at the wrong location. We at LeaftechAg are providing the solution to these problems with our handheld scanner. Our Purdue licensed technology has the capability to geolocate and analyze an individual plant's leaf for nutrient and chemical composition, achieving a crop's production potential with real-time analysis for targeted application for the right nutrient at the right amount at the right location at the right time. Our scanners can provide 20 times more georeference data points with solutions that are 90% faster and for less than 10% of the cost today. Our team's core values are based upon our multi-generational farming family, giving us the ability to understand and support what drives farmers to succeed. With over 25 years of agronomy and precision ag experience and 3 successful startups, we have the skill sets and relationships needed to introduce our new technology for simplified adoption, providing better crop stewardship for generations to come. Since our founding in 2020, we have achieved over $500,000 outside and personal investment. We have closed close to $100,000 in sales through our close relationships with industry leaders. With support from our industry partners, our farming background, industry experience, and relationships, we will capitalize on the $700 million addressable market potential for our technologies. For our 2022 growing season, we already have 50 pre-sale orders for our scanners, and we invite you to join us as investors, customers, and industry partners. I'm John Masco, founder and CEO of LeaftechAg. Thank you for your time.
All right, we'll invite our panelists up at this time. Grab a seat, grab a microphone. Well, maybe hop over here.
Oh, heck yeah. We'll get them from both sides.
Yeah, we'll flank them.
That's what this is.
Out of here. All right, and we've got one of our folks up on the screen here. So I kept thinking as I was listening to each of the backgrounds of your companies, it certainly seems that there has been such an influx of capital into ag tech, and there have been such an influx of companies that have been started within ag tech. So for you, what has been hardest in terms of raising capital for the company? Maybe we'll start right here.
All right, I would say for us, there's a lot of money in ag tech, but once you're in ag tech, it's often a very long-term play, so people need to be very patient with money. So that's the first challenge with VC, because they normally work on a 7 to 10 years kind of window. So this is the first challenge, and building hardware is also something that's afraid a lot of the VC out there. So that was for us the first two main kind of challenge we had to work with VCs, but we've been able to close our seed round in December last year, so we were able to manage it in the middle of COVID. So, but yeah, I would say those are the two specific things.
Great, thanks, Sam.
For us, I would say there's several big challenges. One is that we're focused in row crops, so that eliminates a whole bunch of potential investors. And then we're doing, it's arguably complicated hardware, which knocks out a bunch of other folks. Those are the two big issues.
Yeah, great.
We founded the company in late 2018 as a B Corp to focus on the co-benefits to the environment. Quite frankly, nobody really cared. I mean, they talk about it. I had an investor tell me a year ago, stop, don't mention the word sustainability. No one will ever make money in the carbon markets. And so it has been a challenge to help to try to communicate what is both the economic value and long-term sustainability. And so now the market, everybody's hair is on fire. Now, how do I calculate sustainability? How do I get to carbon market? Hello. So anyway, that's kind of been our challenge.
Great, thank you.
I think from my side, when we start talking to VCs, we're not asking for enough money. We don't need it. They say, well, come back and talk to us when you need 5 million or 3 million. And that's kind of a frustrating thing. It's like, we don't need that much. We can do well and get going. And it's trying to manage that expectation that, we only need 500,000 or less than $1 million, and we can make it go. So.
Yeah, approaching it more bite size instead of all at once.
Yeah.
We'll go over to, we've got Mageheim. I think I'm saying your name mostly.
Mageheim.
Mageheim. How about you? What's been difficult for you in raising capital?
Yeah, we've had a very difficult time raising money from investors. We ended up turning towards corporate partners who invested in our company because they saw the value in what we were doing. Now we're raising again, and I hope the atmosphere is a little bit more friendly. Last time we raised in 2017, it was really difficult to get interest.
Yeah, great. Thank you. We've got a couple of questions come in, specifically for Kent with Rowbot. So the first one, how is planting cover crops with robots better than using an aerial application, and is it more cost effective?
So we knew starting out that we had to come in at or below current market prices for covering ground, whether it's using an airplane or conventional equipment. So we're at or below the cost of an aerial application. And is it more effective? Well, we can do perimeters of fields without concern about overseeding into the next field, which is one big shortcoming of aerial. There's also, if you're flying over a mature stand of corn, it's been described to me as, 30,000 funnels per acre aimed toward the sky that are there to catch the seed. So we do have an advantage that we're right down on the soil surface and can get the seed laid down on the soil, and then we have potential to innovate to be able to improve soil seed contact.
I just have to comment that it's just such a clever name. When I was doing my research and prepping for this, I'm like, Rowbot. I'm like, oh yeah, good play on words there. And then, I think, again, I come from a background of working within a startup for the past 8 years, but over the past 4 years, we've been focused on bringing our expanding product suite to market. And I just keep thinking, I wish we would have done this thing sooner or this thing sooner. So what are some of those things that you're thinking about as you're continuing to grow your offerings in the market? What's one thing you wish you would have done sooner?
A little bit like Jay mentioned, people were not that much talking about sustainability a few years ago, and I wish we'd have picked up this maybe a little bit earlier, but now we start focusing a lot on soil health parameters such as respiration, microbiomes and stuff. We also do soil carbon, which is a real topic right now, so I wish we'd have a catch up this maybe a little bit earlier, but this is things that we are now attacking very hard.
Great.
For us, we've always felt like doing work and collecting data would be really a critical synergy for our platform, and I would regret that we've been a little slow on the data piece. We're now sort of gaining traction we have what I believe is a really innovative solution around how we can bring data using sensors and machine learning to do a better job of applying nitrogen. So wish I had figured that out a few years earlier.
Our number one limiting factor right now is people and scaling the team. So wish I had more people on the team. That's it.
I'm going to say it's asking for help sooner. You start out kind of by yourself, and it's like you got to do everything yourself. And I think at this point, it's like, how do you ask for help and not, I guess, be a little more vulnerable with your close people and building that network a little bit better and a little bit tighter. So it helps keeps you from burning out so quick.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Mageheim?
I'll second that in terms of asking for help. And for us, we're developing two markets. One is to sell equipment to wastewater treatment facilities, and then also selling a fertilizer. And we had a lag between when we started the development of the fertilizer because we were so focused on finishing this really complicated equipment. And I wish we would have done it more simultaneously so that by the time the equipment was commercialized, we can already have really clear sales channels.
Great. A couple more questions came in. They're specifically for a couple of people on the panel. First one over here for Sam with ChrysaLabs. Can your lab provide insights mid-late season when crops are already mature by measuring the periphery of fields?
Yeah, that's a good question. So our tool is a portable device, so you can bring it with you directly in the field. So you can take literally analysis whenever you want directly in the field. So we often say dog is like the best friend of human, but these probes are kind of the best friend for every field agronomist. So it's really something we envision every agronomist having in their hand. They're working to do their jobs. They're plunging the device in the ground, and they know exactly what's going on. So this is why we have real traction with service providers, retailers, co-ops, because all their field agronomists are working with our devices to kind of get exactly an assessment of what's going on now to make clear decisions.
So ChrysaLabs, a field agronomist's best friend.
Exactly.
And then we've got one for LeaftechAg over here. One common way of identifying nematodes is through plant sampling and sending to a lab. Can your digital lab be used to identify nematodes?
Today, no, because we don't know what that nematode's signature looks like. But we are looking at other diseases and pest damages and stuff that occur on a leaf because we're measuring the living plant. And each of those areas and pixels can give us an indication of something that's happening on the plant beyond just the nutrient side. So we're training the algorithms to identify those types of digital signatures. So today, no, but I never thought of nematodes, but hey, send me some more ideas.
That's why we're here, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
What do you, and we'll start this time with Mageheim, and so you can go first, but what do you see as your company's biggest unfair competitive advantage in the market?
I think we're one of the only companies or the only company that can meet some of the EU regulations for phosphorus recovery, which is to recover half the phosphorus in the sludge stream. Even 10 years later of developing this technology and putting it in the market, I haven't seen a good competitor to that aspect.
Great. How about we'll start with John.
I'm going to say we're probably tenacity. We've been in the business for several years. We have the tenacity and experience and relationships that we've identified a linchpin technology, and we understand it, and we are staying in our sandbox. And I think that focus, single-minded focus, and that tenacity that we're going to make this work.
Great. We'll keep going down the line here.
Yeah, I'd say innovation and in collaboration with the national labs. So I get to say I'm long PhDs at the government's expense through our Arva Smart Farm project, and we're continuing to innovate and have a strong pipeline of IP behind that with real scientific rigor behind it. So we're excited about that.
Great.
Interestingly, we set out to solve a really big problem, which is the waste of nitrogen fertilizer, rather than starting a robotics company. But since we did, I would argue that our unfair advantage is that our strategic partner, Carnegie Robotics, is a team of 130 of the best robotics minds on the planet. So we can solve all of the autonomy problems in front of us.
Yeah, and on my end, I would say two different things. So first is the fact that we are based in Montreal, and we are a real hub for data science. So we have a very skilled team in terms of data science. So this is a real thing for us. And on the other hand is we have a good IP portfolio where we have developed spectroscopy specifically applied for soil, rather than only looking at what was available on the market and trying to make this work for soil. We have looked the opposite way and really kind of look at how labs were kind of analyzing the soil directly, and we have developed a optical design specifically focusing on soil solution, specifically designed for soil. So now, the IP that we have is, we consider this better than what's on the market.
Great. What challenges do you think founders face starting a business within the agriculture sector? Maybe we'll start with Jay.
I didn't come from family has owned farmland. We've been buying farmland for 30 years, didn't come from being a farmer. So having to be persevering and working and collaborating with other people in this space. So my background is my third software company. I came from a trading, technology, and risk management, and I'm trying to apply that same skill. So just trying to help people understand, how to use data at scale and build models, predictive models that can be valuable, because you're always going to have, everybody's a skeptic. And so perseverance is in this space is really important, because the sales cycles, as John knows, is really long. Every year, it's not like we're selling every month. So it's being persevering and staying in business long enough for serendipity to happen is what I say.
I love that you're touching on that, saying you're coming from a non-ag background. That came up earlier when Aaron was speaking as well, and how we've really found that having both or multiple kind of levels of expertise within the organization have been really, really helpful. It's great to have that deep ag expertise. You need that on the team, but you also need some other dimensions in there too. So that's great. How about you, Kent? What's been some of the challenges as founder?
Well, I think the most important thing is to make sure that you're pulling on a really big lever that's important to the farmer. So for us, it's nitrogen's the biggest input after buying seed. It's the biggest driver after Mother Nature on yield. So I think that's really important. Being a vegan and working out in row crop agriculture is a little tough too.
On my side, I would need to go along with Jay. The market is pretty conservative and a lot of skepticism, so you need to persevere. Of course, the sales cycles are pretty long, so you need to be kind of a lot of tenacity working along, and we need to redo this every year with all of our customers. So yeah, that could be rough sometimes.
Great. How about you?
I'm going to say we're a generational farming family, and is taking that production side to an ag tech generational business. And that's kind of what we're looking at, is that we're taking that philosophy of our family farming operation to a service to a business that serves that same industry. And there's a big difference between driving a tractor or production and then serving that industry in a way that is profitable for them and for us. So it's that, we're bringing, our kids are in this and we're working with it, and we come at it from a different perspective because we deal with the livelihoods of people, and we understand when we screw up, we affect a lot of other people, and we take it very seriously.
Great. Mageheim, how about you? Challenges as founder?
I would say our biggest challenges are developing two completely new industries. We were one of the first to start research on phosphorus recovery back in 2002, and it's taken us basically 20 years to get our technology scalable. And so it was very hard for people initially to see the value in what we were doing. Now it's a little bit more obvious, but still pretty challenging. And then offering a completely new kind of fertilizer in the market, a mineral that hasn't been traditionally been used as a fertilizer. And even though it's equivalent, people just don't know it. So it takes time to have that adopted.
Great. Kind of my final question, and this is coming from a place of always being curious about geography. I grew up just north of Fargo on a family farm. My dad and brother still farm today. We're in the thick of sugar beet harvest right now. I think you were able to tour the American Crystal Sugar Plant, which they're part owners of. How much does sense of place play into your business? Because I think from what I understand, all of the businesses on this panel aren't necessarily on a coast or, in what would be conceived as maybe like a really, really aggressive tech area. Has geography and where you're building your business been a competitive advantage for you, or is it neutral? Maybe we'll start with Kent.
Sure, I just offer that it's neutral or positive for sure. I think having one of my co-founders is a large-scale dairy farmer, my brother, and living in the Midwest and being able to be familiar with the region is definitely provides a leg up.
Yeah, for me, I would say neutral as well, because we're building in downtown Montreal, so of course you wouldn't expect Montreal being the big hub for agriculture, and you would be right. But it's more or less it's kind of a mindset. So if you're building an agtech company, you need to be focused on customers, you need to be focused on farmers. So you can build this in any central Manhattan if you want. If you're connected with growers, you ask them questions, you see and visit, then you'll have the mindset of building this ecosystem, and you'll be able to achieve your goals. So for me, the place where you build this doesn't really matter.
Yeah. How about you, Mageheim?
I think it's been more positive than anything because we tested and piloted our technology at a facility at two facilities in the Midwest that were more forward thinking on phosphorus recovery. I think if we hadn't had that close by, it would have been extremely challenging to have scaled our technologies.
Great. Jay and then John.
Yeah, I think if we weren't farming 5,000 acres near Stuttgart, Arkansas, and we brought Lawrence Berkeley National Labs there, and we have a world-class research facility there, we would have no chance of talking to farmers. If we didn't have the connection and the background and have the same experiences, we wouldn't be doing that. You couldn't do this from San Francisco, I don't think.
I'm going to say it's an advantage being in the Midwest because, like you said, we're closer to the people who are actually using the technologies. And it's been my journey has been, I've been fortunate to work both nationally and internationally, and farmers across the world are pretty common. There's a commonality, and being in the Midwest is good. We can show it working, but the personalities of the farmers we've served in the past are like, they're sitting around the coffee table just like we do here. And it's a really cool experience working that way. So Midwest is great, lower cost of doing business, and we can do a lot of trialing and work with it. So quality of life is better.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. Let's give our panelists a round of applause here. So we're going to take a 10-minute break before we get back to our next panel. So enjoy and network and mix and mingle.
That concludes our break, so I'm just gonna stand and keep talking until I can talk louder than everybody else and you feel uncomfortable and you feel like you gotta sit down. Oh, you think we could get those people in that room? Hey, break room goers. Yeah, we did threaten John Mahacek with a random act of art, so unless you guys want to see John dancing and singing on stage, you might want to make your way back to the main room. Dun, 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 dun. I did say I was a theater kid. I could lead you all in a large rendition of the Macarena. Do you know the Macarena?
I do.
I don't know the words, but I can.
That was popular when I was in junior high. I don't know if you were even born yet, so.
I was going to make a joke when I did the flu bump. I was like, I feel like there's different generations of people. And instead of calling Gen Z, maybe it's like Gen flu bumpers.
Yes.
Because I'm going to guess that in middle school, they did not teach you how to flu bump. Was that a thing? Nope.
That definitely wasn't a thing.
Let me tell you what, forever drilled in my brain. Little did I know that it would play so handy for future endeavors. Okay. And we're getting more people back. Da, 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 da. That looks really comfy down there. My goodness. We should get you like one of those like little pads to sit on. That you sit on like sports games.
Scooter.
Ooh,
yes.
a scooter.
Watch out for fingers.
That's very true. That's very true. Okay.
Okay, we've got a lot of folks in here, so we're gonna keep this going. We've got our final group that we're gonna be able to watch videos on their businesses and bring up our final panel here and have a discussion with them. So enjoy, and we'll be back up here in a few minutes.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Hassan Sultan, founder of Soiltech Wireless, a complete farm management solution that helps farmers do more with less. Technology developed for agriculture is historically expensive, complex, or both. Soiltech worked with farmers from day one to develop a solution that's easy to use, cost-effective enough for mass deployment, and that displays data in an easily actionable format. Through a combination of proprietary, patent-pending hardware and a simple-to-use yet powerful data platform, Soiltech offers the first device that can move throughout the whole ag supply chain and capture meaningful data points at each step. Our proven technology helps to fine-tune irrigation, reduce crop damage, save fuel, automate critical calculations, provide early indications of disease, optimize manpower, and more easily track historical farm performance. This encourages buy-in from the ground level, as we deliver a clear ROI to the farmer. This grassroots approach is the only pathway to being able to deploy enough devices to generate the data required to drive true on-farm automation and achieve wider sustainability goals. As of today, Soiltech has a commercialized product, is post-revenue, and is already delivering value to farmers, consultants, input companies, processors, and researchers alike. We're deployed in an ever-increasing range of crops throughout North America, Europe, South America, Africa, and Australia. We're now focusing on harnessing the data and transforming it into even more valuable insights. With multiple integrations in the pipeline and a constantly evolving feature set, Soiltech is primed for further growth. To date, we've been funded exclusively by farmers who've used the product and recognize its market potential. We're now fundraising to help catalyze our growth and are seeking strategic partners who share a common goal of helping farmers and helping the environment. Thank you.
Welcome to the Agrellus Marketplace. I'm Chris Johnson, CEO of Agrellus, and I represent a strong team of experienced entrepreneurs, founders, and executives that lead Agrellus. The Agrellus Marketplace does away with the problem of allocations and reduces retailer overhead at the same time. At the end of the day, farming operations and the ag community wins. Agrellus Marketplace supplies several simple things: a very powerful user interface, financing at the click of a button, inventory transfers for the retailers that greatly increase the bottom line, a power set of features and benefits at no cost to the retailer, with none of that long-term integration overhead. Now, with over 550 locations certified, retailers are experiencing the advantages of the marketplace. Our Agrellus University program is supported by 6 universities: the University of Arkansas, Oklahoma State, North Dakota State, Purdue, and a few others trust Agrellus with their students at this point. Our goal is to employ up to 200 junior, senior, and master level students during the next 2 years. The Agrellus connection to the community through education is paramount for delivering the best value to the farming family. Our e-commerce associates and farm operators have blown past our goal of 12 million, securing almost 4.5 million in ag inputs through certified and local retailers. The Agrellus marketplace enjoys a low cost of acquisition for both growers and for retailers all across America. Come and partner with us as we grow our investors and make the marketplace an outstanding value to the farm and to the community.
Hello, I'm Bailey Stockdale, and I'm the founder of Leaf. And at Leaf, we're building a unified farm data API. And what this means is that we're building a tool that helps software developers to become automatically compatible with farm data from any source so that they can focus all of their time and all of their effort on building value for their customers instead of maintaining and implementing hundreds of API integrations in their backend. To give an example of what this looks like in practice, we can look at Growmark. So Growmark is building a series of applications for their member stores, but also for growers. And in order to power some of the agronomy features that are going to be shipping with these applications, they needed to be compatible with the field boundaries and the machinery data from all major agriculture brands. They decided to build these features on top of Leaf's API. And because of this, they were able to save thousands of developer hours, which means that they could get to market in weeks instead of years, but also that they don't need to maintain an internal team that focuses only on building and maintaining integrations. We're heavily inspired by companies that have played a similar role in other industries. What we've seen is that companies like Twilio and Plaid and Segment and Redox and Nihilus have been able to encourage a massive boost to the innovation and value being built in their industries by making it very easy for software developers to build with the existing data and services in their respective industries. At Leaf, we're following a similar model because we've been there. We were software developers trying to create recommendations, and we found that we couldn't do it without first solving the interoperability problem. And so that's what we're focused on today. And we're helping hundreds of companies, both very small and very large, to be able to build new value on top of existing data and services. So please come to our website, reach out to us directly. We have a self-service button directly on our front page. All of our documentation is online as well. And if you register for an account, we pre-populate every account with sample data so you can feel the power of Leaf immediately. So please reach out. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Michael Lynch, the CEO and co-founder of Chonex. Chonex is a soil health company that helps farmers restore the quality of their soil, increase their crop yields, and makes farming more profitable. Soil is the most important technology in the world. In fact, 1 tablespoon of soil has over 1 billion microorganisms in it, each with a special purpose to help improve either plant or soil health. 95% of all the food production on Earth is supported by our topsoil. But our soils have become severely degraded, and now the world's food supply is at risk. The 2 main causes are tillage and the overuse of chemicals and fertilizers, which have sterilized and degraded our soils. We're running out of time. Over 1/3 of our Earth's topsoils have already become degraded, and at the current rate, the world could run out of topsoil in 60 years. Fortunately, Chonex has a solution for this. Strong Soil, a microbial concentrate of beneficial bacteria that helps strengthen and restore the health of our soils, bringing back its biodiversity, which is critical to a thriving soil. We help farmers increase their crop yield and quality of their crops. We help farmers decrease their expensive chemical inputs and fertilizer inputs, and we help them get access to the regenerative agricultural markets. The time is now. The drivers are in our favor. There's a huge degraded soil epidemic. Chonex is starting to receive very favorable field trial results, which all line up with the new government regulations that are focused on topsoil health. Thank you very much for this opportunity. If you'd like to learn more about Chonex and our product Strong Soil, please reach out to me. I'd love to share our story. Thanks.
Well, thanks everyone. We'll welcome our panel up, our third and final panel today. we've got everyone here, and Bailey was unable to make it today, so we've got the three guys up here. Thank you for being here today, and it was great to learn a little bit more about your companies. Okay, so first question I have, there's a lot of power in storytelling, and so I know we can get into some of the business implications of what you've been working on, but what I really want to know is what's the craziest thing that has happened within your business this year? Maybe if you want to start, Asen.
Yeah, hi. Moving to Taiwan and then moving back within 6 weeks.
Oh.
So my wife has her job, and her job required her to be in Taiwan, and we moved the family there, and it was just immediately apparent it was going to have such a huge impact on our life and our business that, I moved back as planned, and 2 weeks later she got on the plane and came back. So I'm not sure how business related that is, but I think it'll definitely help what we're doing over the next year. So.
That's great.
Craziest story this year. We have a brilliant scientist who got her PhD in biofungicides in Argentina, and we've been working for a year to get her to Alabama, and it's been really difficult. The IFDC, the International Fertilizer Development Center, is the largest fertilizer research organization in the world, and they're based in Alabama. Most of their money is USAID money, and so they were able to give her a G4 diplomat visa and let her work out of her office to do our research. And we just got her visa a couple of days ago, and so that's a really exciting story. She's brilliant. She's most of the patents that were found able to isolate the microbes, the antimicrobial peptides, show their effects on plant health. She did all that work at the University of Montreal. She's been living in Argentina, working out of a greenhouse, doing research for us, and now we finally got her here, so we're really excited about that.
That's great.
I think probably shooting that thing I just shot. But, I was in an old Airstream that I rebuilt for 2 years, and so the way that we go after retailers is I'll go out saying, that was in Arkansas, so sitting there trying to speak with the retailer. We're going to eat, I think the most unusual thing is we were eating frog legs after that. So it was kind of fun to be in the community, but what we do is we actually build the heuristics, the smartness behind the application so that a grower or a retailer can use it without even knowing it. So we build active intelligence into it. So I try to gain a lot of information from people in the field like that so that we can build the back ends like they need to be built.
Great. What do you think is your company's biggest asset right now? And maybe I'll marry this with the question I asked the previous panel. Maybe said differently, what is your biggest unfair competitive advantage? Yeah, why don't you go first?
I think that all of my investors are farmers. That's probably the biggest unfair advantage we have. I don't think that's common, even in Agtech. And to have those guys drive what we do in a very honest way, because there's advice and there's honest advice, I think that's probably our biggest unfair advantage.
That's great.
I'd say two things. One is just the scalability of what we're doing, our partnership with Cal-Maine Foods, the world's largest egg producer. They produce a ton of manure, which is basically the same feedstock that we use for all of our product. And the ability to take this to 400 million acres in the U.S. Of degraded soil land or soil with health issues. And then on top of that, I would say it's the IP that we've developed, how we're patenting this process, which will allow us to take a product to the market at, very affordable to farmers, around $10 an acre, that can have such a big impact. And I think the pricing, IP, and scalability was what separates us from everyone.
Great.
Yeah, I think the Agrellus marketplace's advantage is that there's no pure competitors to what we do. I think we were confused in the market probably 2 or 3 years ago with FBN and those type of being a retailer. We don't compete with any retailers. So it's, I think getting that out of the way was really important. But our advantage is really being able to take all of these technologies, bring them into our system, and with our active intelligence algorithms, we can take what's needed to be pushed back out to the grower. So it makes it simple, and it's kind of like you're driving in your pickup and you've got an ID on your dashboard. Farmer puts it up there. We retain that information. So that information goes back to the farmer. Then we communicate that with the retailers and put them together.
Great. Question for you that came in, Chris, with Agrellus. Curious to hear more about your university program. I think we heard that North Dakota State University is part of that, so right in our backyard here. How does it work, and is this a good way to find talent to scale?
Yeah, it really is. I think we have Kayla, she's actually in Sioux Falls. She runs our e-commerce department. So our associates come out of many universities. North Dakota State is brand new, so we're just getting them started. We went in the University of Arkansas last week, so we go in, we'll take 2 or 3 students at a junior, senior, master, and even a doctorate level. They will come in and work back to their community. So our interns will call their mayors, their councilmen. They'll take and actually explain to them how to use our platform.
Okay.
So it's really nice. We'll do I think 4 students. If you know FTE, everybody kind of knows what that is. So FTE, 4 full-time FTEs can put on about 100 units per month.
Great. Two-sided question. What motivates you each morning as you get up and go? And then what keeps you up at night? Maybe we'll start with Chris.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm an old guy, so I go to bed pretty early. So not much keeps me up. I think I snore pretty quick. But I think getting velocity and software in this market's really been interesting. I came out of the medical industry market, some of the largest companies there, doing like $38 billion. So velocity to get all of the information, because there's so much information in Agtech that comes through, and taking and building those algorithms in the background so nobody sees those. But our IP is really important. So I think that's probably what keeps me up at night, is just thinking through those type of solutions.
Yeah. Michael.
I guess what motivates me has changed a little bit. I'd say when I first started, it was this problem, this big problem that we wanted to solve. But as we've grown, I think it's kind of the duty to my investors, my team, everyone that's given so much to help make this happen, and I feel like just working really hard. So all the work that's been done is we kind of achieve our mission and goal. And what keeps me up at night is really just all the things that could screw this up. I feel we're at a great opportunity, but making sure that everything that needs to get done is getting done. And so those are probably the 2 things that drive me and keep me up.
Great. Ethan.
For me, what motivates me and what keeps me up at night are the same things. It's getting the product right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of claims in agriculture, and I'm just very insecure about saying that I can help you manage moisture and not actually do it. So that motivates me, and it also keeps me up at night trying to solve the problem. So
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah. I think, again, as we look at the landscape of ag tech, there's a lot of movement that's happening. And I could see it being really easy to get intrigued by another shiny object or marble that might blow up a roadmap or have you entering a new market. How do you balance some of these newer opportunities or exciting opportunities that seem really, really good for the business with sticking to what you've committed, to your customers, to your investors, to your partners? Maybe if you want to.
Yeah, I can start. I think some of the things that I think about are like our founders are here with us today. I came on about a year ago to really accelerate the idea, but it's growers want to send their kids to college, so we're able to save 10 to 15% on inputs, depending on what that is, or on products for the grower. We also save money on the retailer side because of the efficiencies it would bring. So it's kind of nice to be able to offer those type of solutions, to the growers, because there's so many out there that want to reciprocate. What we found with the kids in the e-commerce program that I was answering earlier is that those are the same kids that get to go to college now, so they don't mind calling back and saying, hey, this is working.
Mm-hmm. Great. Ethan?
I think just having made the mistake before of trying to chase too much, and now at my stage of life, knowing that just to focus on the fundamentals is more important than trying to do 25 things at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very fair.
I would say that's something we all need to be careful about. I think it's just kind of in the entrepreneur's DNA is to take advantage of new opportunities.
I would say even getting to meet some of our classmates, Agrellus, is thinking through when there's an opportunity, how can you focus that into your mission or your goal? Like, how can I tap into his student network to help make sales that maybe wasn't part of our plan, but could be a better opportunity. I think it's just, you have to be really creative and then make sure you're tying this new idea into what you're trying to do. And,
I like it.
Yeah.
What was the moment, or maybe what did that moment feel like when you kind of thought or felt, I think we've got product market fit here? I remember that with Bushel when we first went to market with our flagship mobile app. It was deploying it to our first customer and getting 80% of their farmers, deploying it to their first customer who was a grain cooperative, and getting 80% of their farmers on it. And we went, whoa, there's something here. What was that for you?
It was when the first farmer called his neighbor and said, try this out. I knew that guy was already patient with me. He had been testing for a year.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he was willing to risk his reputation to recommend the product to his friend, that was when we knew we were on the right track.
That's great. Michael?
I would say for us was we were about 2 years in. We had just started getting some of our data back. We had kind of developed the process. And I read an article about this woman in the BioAg industry, a woman named Pam Marone, who's the real leader, just retired. And I wrote her on LinkedIn, and I told her about what I was doing. And she was real excited. I had a teammate that went to Cornell. She was a trustee at Cornell. And we set up a follow-up call the next day with our board. And in 48 hours, we had a contract negotiated with her to kind of come on our team and help us with our go-to-market plan. And she just sold her last company for $500 million and made an investment in us and really kind of helped us structure. But that's when we got her attention, we felt like we'd kind of hit the mark on that.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Yeah, kind of similar to, I think, a model that we were trying to model out on our back-end systems was, how does the grower interact with the retailers? So we had one grower that had tapped into our Agrellus financial. He went out and got his, up to, $500,000 loan, whatever he's doing. And all of a sudden, he required his retailers to be over our platform. And so we were like, well, that's kind of unusual. Usually we go out and try to sell to the retailers the value because there's no cost to be on the platform. They kind of look at you with eyes, sideways. But the grower had the retailers, which were there about 5 or 6, get onto the platform so that he could do business across the platform to be more efficient. And all the retailers came. I think that was the biggest surprise. Mm-hmm. So we saw all the retailers come on board, and now they're clicking. And one of the biggest feedbacks we got from the retailers is they get their money in 24 hours. So it's a big deal to keep that that back end working for the grower and the retailer.
Yeah. Again, recalling back to Aaron's presentation earlier and talking about that need for collaboration within the ag tech industry, what have you looked for as some of the top traits in partners that you are looking to do business with? What are some of those key things that you identify that are needed? And then, since I have a habit of asking the other side of the question, what are some things that you're like, red flag, nope, don't want to try that?
Who wants to start?
Chris, go again.
I think like Michael and I, we had some really good discussions about traction with new product in the market and staying focused. So how do you really stay in your lane, to kind of get to the end buyer or the seller? And so I think to me, it's a lot of fun just looking at all the scenarios that can happen, but it's fraught with a lot of wasted time. Mm-hmm. So I think kind of it goes back to the question you had a while ago. It's just really focusing in on the task of the model that you're working on, making sure that you're doing what you need to do with either the product. For us, we develop technology, so it's hard to develop technology and not charge for it. Mm-hmm. So that's really what we focus on. So the grower doesn't pay anything, the retailer doesn't pay anything for the software. So it's those challenges are just kind of make sure you keep that focused in front.
Yeah.
So a red flag for me is when people just want to get acres. They don't care about actually the end result, like what did that achieve? Just we got another 100,000 acres for our pitch deck. And in terms of collaboration, just being willing to give honest feedback. I said that in another comment, but it rings true. That's why our product's developed to the point that it has, because we're able to take feedback from the grower, from the processor, and build in solutions for them. So just being actually collaborative and not for the sake of sound bites and press releases.
Love that.
I would say when we're looking at partners, we really look for character first. People that really want to serve others, that never compromise integrity, and that are just really genuine and authentic people, and really put expertise behind that. We've been able to find some very expertise folks with great character, but without the character, nothing else really works out after that. So that's something we take real seriously when we work with folks.
Kind of a follow-up on that. One thing that I've often heard throughout the years is the critical importance of relationships within agriculture. And while I think that's true in all industries, that's a fundamental of business, I seem to hear it more and I seem to hear it louder within agriculture. Would you agree or disagree that personal relationship is more important within the ag industry especially?
Yeah, ag is so big but so small.
Yeah.
Really good example. I was here to meet one of the big sugar companies a few weeks ago, and before I arrived, they called the sugar company in Idaho to check me out. So although those guys are competitors, they live states apart, they were able to do their due diligence on me, and if I hadn't been an honest guy, I guess in Idaho, I could have killed the meeting here before it started.
Yeah.
You know, I agree. It's a small world. After I think I had my first call with the OCP group, I got a call from the FDC, and they said that OCP just called us. Yeah, I think personal relationships is super important, and all the farmers. I mean, and you have to build one with every single farmer when you're and going to their site, going to test the, check on the demos, making sure they have everything they need, answering the phone call every time they call you. I mean, those are the things that build trust and build relationships, and so something you have to really work hard at. And you screw up one time, you lose a relationship. So.
Yeah, very, very important. I think trust is huge in the industry. The one thing I discovered, I came out of the medical industry, is it's a little bit different. It's a little more transactional. The McKinsey and Deloitte studies say that kind of agriculture is moving that direction, up to maybe 80% transactional. And I see that, but at the same time, you have to build the tools to develop the relation. So it still has the heuristics behind that, has to develop that relationship with the grower, just like it would be if you went and visited them. So that's really important.
How do you balance again, going back to just the massive growth that's happening in ag tech, how do you balance the need for growing the business and expanding perhaps, the market share that you're going after with actually building a real revenue model?
I think that if you focus on delivering value to the grower, that'll happen naturally. And probably not the right place to say this, but just don't chase checks, because you'll run your company in the wrong direction if you do that. So just focus on what you're trying to do, and hopefully success will follow with that.
Great advice.
Yeah, I would say, surround yourself with really good people that have a lot of experience in taking a product to market and commercializing a product, because I think there are a lot of shortcuts that people look at, and that, if you're lucky enough, you can raise enough capital where you can plug in the year or 2 years that it takes to really develop a market and take a product to market, and just willing to be patient and try and meet each milestone and grow your companies until you're in that position where you can start making big sales. And it's a tough thing to do sometimes.
Yeah, I would agree with all of that. I think, scale is really difficult to control, especially in agriculture with all the different regions too. So, it seems to me that there's a lot of places, I'll hop in the Airstream and run around to different places and sit in the middle of a field, and it's different in each place. So I think the scaling is hard. I think in the bottom line is got to be trust. At the end of the day, that the grower or even the retailer has to see the efficiencies, has to see the cost efficiencies? Can I save money and spend less time saving money?
Great. What's something that you wished you would have learned sooner in this particular business you're running now? I know you have experience with some past businesses too, but what's one thing you wished you would have learned about agriculture and farming sooner?
How complex it is. So I don't have an ag background. I worked in tech for 10 years. I didn't realize what it took to grow a potato. Like just how many things go on in one field, and just being more sensitive to the needs of the farmer. I now have developed that, but I wish I knew that coming in.
Yeah, that's great. Empathy to the user.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure everybody in here knows this, but you know, when you have this big idea and you think you're going to change the world and you get started, just how long it really takes to do that, and all the, you know, the challenges, and you know, I think you can really speed up the learning curve if you can surround yourself with some really good people that have done it before and know what they're doing. And I think the sooner you can get those kind of folks on your team to help you, it really kind of cuts that learning curve down significantly and allows you to move a lot quicker.
Yeah, I agree. I think also getting faster in touch with plug and play. I think the way that plug and play really puts their programs together is really, I think, really smart in bringing in, you know, the accelerators from all different parts of the world too. So you get kind of this global effect going on. We had the advantage of, you know, we have some a lead investor come in just, you know, through the program. So it's a really nice thing. I mean, we're looking for strategic partners, you know, to expand, but I think the plug and play advantage is pretty cool.
Yeah. Where are you, you know, speaking of just kind of connections with plug and play, which is, you know, why we're all here today, what are some of the ways that you are consuming information about the customers that you are working with? Obviously, you've probably got research teams that are working with farmers and learning more about them, and your frontline business development folks are out there. What are some other ways that you are staying connected with that farmer user base, or maybe it's further up, you know, up the supply chain on the ag retail side? Best sources of information.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the fun part of what we're doing right now is trying to figure out the data that we want to keep. You know, there's so much data coming in that when we work with retailers and all the different products and all the different manufacturers, and we have fun from the, you know, the retailer to the distributor to the manufacturer because we don't, compete as a competitive retailer. So we have some advantages there of getting data in, but having it to be intelligent enough to push back out to a grower in an understandable way is really critical. And so, yeah, it's a huge challenge of just boiling that down because I get the sense that the industry kind of boils the ocean a lot. And so we're trying to reduce that, make it very simple, you know, usable and practical at the end of the day.
Great. Michael?
Yeah, I think there's some incredible data being created right now that's really segmented. We work with a couple of companies in California, Trace Genomics and Biomakers, and they do DNA sequencing of the soil, and they can look at the microbes and how much things are changing, and they're working all across the country. And then we'll work with the Soil Health Institute that kind of has maps of the most productive soils, the most degraded soils. We'll work with Farmers Business Network, and they know which, you know, they can tell what soils are most degraded based on the crop yields in certain areas. But there's nothing that's taken that data and consolidated it and given us a map that says, you know, these areas are where you need to be. And so to, you know, work with a big group of folks, collect that data, and then make it usable is really tough for a small startup when you got a million other things to do, but when you're still trying to figure out how to take your product to market. But it's really neat seeing the data companies and how they're combining all these technologies and combining all this data and making it more easy and usable for folks like us. And we're grateful for that.
Yeah.
The most important data for us is understanding how people actually use the product, because we say that it can do X, Y, and Z, and we have all these great ideas, but how do the people actually use it? And then distilling down our messaging based on that.
I love that. When we were first going to market, we first went to market with a sugar beet cooperative with our product, and it was just a way for farmers and truck drivers to get their scale ticket information in a digital format. What we ended up finding out was the truck driver, or the folks in the field, so running the lifters and the lifter in particular, was scheduling bathroom breaks around the information that they were getting in real time through their app, through the scale tickets that the trucks were getting from the piling station. So I love that, and that like speaks deeply to the work that we've done. Tell us we'll wrap up here, kind of final tidbit with this group. Tell us a success story. Tell us the kind of the big, and maybe it's a success and failure story, again, going to that dichotomy, but tell us a success story.
Yeah, I'll start right quick. I mean, we had one probably in the last few days. We're releasing a new kind of design, heuristic design. So we've taken the grower experience and we moved it from this really ugly, nasty, animal that the grower would kind of look at and go, I can't, make it work, to now about a 20-second, I hit it and I'm back, on my GPS tractor and working. So, it's fun to take it from a, kind of this first idea and then bringing it into something that, again, just kind of boils it down to a few seconds.
Mm-hmm.
is satisfying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd say we've been working with a farmer in Lexington, Virginia. He's a 7th generation farmer. They've been on the same farm since the 1600s. And he's really degraded soils. And he ran some trials last year on corn and soybean and got a 30% increase in yields. And so this year he did 850 acres. But he leased a piece of land that farmers in Virginia have been trying to get crops to grow on for 20 years, and no one's been able to do it. And it's 120 acres. We went to visit about 2 months ago, and the corn was 10 feet high. Wow. And when we were there looking at the corn, he told me that he thought that his kids weren't going to be farmers. That he was making $3 an hour if you really looked at what he was doing, and he didn't think he was going to be able to pass the farm on to the kids. And after using our product, he felt like it was something he's going to be able to preserve that legacy for his kids. And that was a really big thing to hear him say that to us.
So then you teared up. That's amazing.
Mine's going to be so much more selfish now. Breaking out of a crop stereotype. So everybody thought we just work with potatoes. But for us to be able to get into California and the Midwest with their respective kind of key crops was a huge success for us this year. And it enabled us to create a year-round sales cycle as opposed to just the tight growing season.
Yep.
So, yeah, that was a big success for us this year.
Awesome. That's great. Well, let's give our panelists a round of applause here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. And thanks to everybody that's taken the initiative to fly all the way here to Fargo. We are grateful that you're here, and we're excited to announce our final speaker for the day, which is Roger Tripathi. He'll be calling in virtually, and he's established himself as a global business leader with a diversified background in different nations and cultures. After working for several years on the global stage of the bioagriculture business in all industry segments since 1983, he set off to establish his own platforms. In 2017, he co-founded Global BioAg Linkages, and just a year later, he would found Primary BioAg Innovations. Today, he is CEO of both entities, where he supports, promotes, and consults for bioagriculture companies around the world. And I've also heard that apparently he has worked and lived on most continents, so he can confirm or deny that fact for us. So thanks so much for calling in today.
Thank you so much, everyone. First of all, good afternoon, and I won't miss such an opportunity, even though I'm in Spain. It's late evening here, and I thought I will still like to participate. And I was listening in with the panel's point, the last panel, and we worked closely with Michael as well. And what Michael was saying and some of the other folks were saying, that is so true. All of this is coming to the closed loop, and that's what I'm going to address in my talk. Why BioAg is so important in connecting the dots. So when I talk about it, it's a little bit on my business. As you can see here, our main focus really is, as you can see, that every part of the business is important. However, we also need focus. Therefore, we decided we are going to focus on the bioagriculture industry and see how that can contribute to sustainability. So we focus on the biostimulants, biopesticides, and bionutrients. And those are some of the elements which are very important in reducing the chemical load, therefore supporting regenerative agriculture as well as sustainable agriculture. In our group, most of you know Pam. Wherever I go in the world, everyone knows Pam. So Pam is our managing partner as well as also mentoring the whole team. We also have another vertical which organizes one event a year, which is called BioAg World Congress, to bring the whole BioAg community together to talk about challenges, opportunities, and how this segment is helping sustainable agriculture. Then we have a recruitment division, regulatory division, marketing and PR, where we do one magazine every other month, and we simply try to collate all the information across the globe into that one magazine. So every other month people can digest, and that's why we call it Digest, BAW Digest. And then we help go to market through our regional partners. This is a little bit about the business. Having said that, most important thing what I want to address today, I know that that was a fabulous introduction of me earlier. I just want to highlight why I feel so blessed. And this is in the context of this plug and play team. What they have put together is fantastic. And why I feel blessed is the three elements. Number one, if we are going to make things sustainable, we have to start thinking globally local. And because of my birth in India and then being an Australian and being an American, working in 45 countries and cultures, it gave me a totally different perspective. And the reason I say that, folks, because if you're thinking only as an Indian or only as a Chinese or only as a person from Alabama or only a person from California, that is not going to work anymore. We have to start thinking more globally. At the same time, it also helped me because I started as a scientist, so I can understand the scientist lingo. But then I became commercial and as an agronomist, and then started managing businesses. So what I'm trying to say here, try to diversify as much as you can when you're starting a startup or trying to scale up a startup, because that's how you can visualize the whole business. If you are too much in silos, it becomes very difficult. And the most important thing is try to look at every facet of your business as a startup. If you're only focusing on R&D and you're not focusing on the other elements of the business is like our body. You cannot just have your arms strong, you have to have your legs strong, you have to have your brain working properly, you need to have a healthy heart. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. The business is exactly like that. So try to focus on each element of the business, whether it's finance, research, agronomy, extension, and then of course, commercialization. And I will talk about that a little bit more. This is how I see sustainable agriculture. So whenever you start any business in the agriculture area, I'm sure you're doing that. Don't become fanatic for one reason or the other. For example, if you are fanatic only about food safety, you will lose focus of the food security. Food security is equally important. That's why I always say, please try to balance between food safety and food security. Likewise, a lot of us, we are too dedicated, too passionate about the research, and we lose focus of the commerce. And why I say this to you? Because a lot of us are raising money or about to raise money. Do you think anyone is going to be happy if they invest in us just based on the research without any commercial return? Not really. So we have to balance it very well. And one message I want to give to everyone today from my own experience of 36 years, working for multinationals, working for small businesses, trying to shape up some of the small businesses and took them global, that this balance is very important. So for example, don't take it as a complaint or offensive statement. Just think about it. Most of us know that how important money is for a startup or any business for that reason. If our fashion continues to be the success criteria, how much money have we raised, that's detrimental. So my message to everyone here in this room is, yes, raising money is very important, but keep an eye on the commerce as to how much money you are making is equally important than how much money have you raised. Therefore, research and commerce have to be aligned. Same thing about growers and consumers. Yes, sometimes we think about growers' ROI, which is very important. If you don't have a growers' ROI, then you can forget the rest. Because one thing I must tell you from my own experience again, worldwide, whether it's India, Indonesia, where you have small farmers like 1 acre, 2 acre, 5 acres, or you have US, Australia, Brazil, where you have thousands and thousands of acres of farmers. But finally, the farmers are the biggest punters. Farmers are the most important element in our supply chain. And if you look at their return on investment, is the lowest in any businesses being run across the globe. So we should always focus on growers' return. But at the same time, you cannot disregard what our consumers are looking for, because the growers only get their return when the consumers' demands are met. So those two things are very important for all of us to remember. Then, number of times, we forget about the integrated solution. Number of times we talk about chemicals being bad, pesticides being bad, regenerative agriculture and organic is the best. So let's focus on our degraded soils, or the plant health or plant physiology, or the nutrient uptake is more important. What I always try to say is all of the above, not one of the above, that you check the box for one or two. We have to look at the entire integrated crop solution, which starts from the soil health for products such as Michael's product from Chonex. They are going to be integral for our total product solution, plant solution. But at the same time, we also have soil solution. Then comes, earlier we used to focus a lot on the nutrients, but only NPK and some micronutrients. What the time has come now is to combine and look at the total plant life cycle at different stages. What are the nutritional needs? And then try to give the wholesome solution to the plant and try to make it possible. How much of that can be done from the natural products? And that's where the bioagriculture comes into the play. When we talk about the bioagriculture, one thing is very important because of some of the snake oil phenomenon, which came into last 10 to 20 years, is the trust factor. And the trust factor really was broken down because of the selfish profiteering. So what we have to really focus on, the credibility, the reliability, the customer intimacy, and avoid selfish profiteering. When I say selfish profiteering, it's a short-term profiteering, trying to just focus on the dollars. Dollars will come if we are doing the right thing. When we talk about that, a lot of you must be wondering, he's talking about bioagriculture, bioproducts. What are these? So I want to share with you, the bioproducts really consist of three main segments: biofertilizers or bionutrients, biostimulants, and bioprotection. These products, again, if you already know that, it may be just a refresher for you, but at the same time, we need to understand a lot of them are, almost 99% of them are produced from natural resources. Either they're microbial extracts or plant extracts or the combination. A lot of these products are very suitable also for regenerative agriculture, which is something is going to be a necessity the way our soils are degrading. When I talk about that, I never say that agrochemicals or chemical fertilizers are going to be totally out of the loop. No, they will always be necessary in some way or the form, but our need is to start increasing the ratio of the biological product, the natural product into our crop solution, and start reducing the chemical load on the plant and the soils, because our soils cannot take it anymore. So that's the reason why the bioagriculture and the bioproducts are so important. I already talked about what and why. Most important thing is that if you want to maintain the soil health and the plant health, the bioproducts are very necessary. Now let's talk about, I just said about commerce. And I'm not saying that bioagriculture is necessary just because we need it for soil health and plant health and human health, but this is also a business opportunity. You look at all these three segments. Overall, if you look at different research, I have averaged it out here. This segment is growing 17%. Chemical segment is growing 2 to 3%, which is already a sign that we have to go into this segment. Why it is also very important? All of us know that pest resistance is a huge problem. Residue is a huge problem. Labor efficiency is a huge problem. At the same time, a lot of pests are not manageable by chemicals, so it's an unmet need. I already talked about soil health. You must be hearing a lot about the carbon footprint and the carbon credits. You will hear more about that from us in the coming months. And this is one of the areas which is going to be in the talk and the use and the application in next 2 to 3 years. Integrated solution, we already talked about it. We have to start bundling. And I already said bio with the biochem. And that's very important. Of course, that we have to combine with the R&D. This is very important to understand. We have two kinds of stresses, abiotic and the biotic. When we talk about the biotic stress, most of the biotic stress was managed by the chemicals. But thanks to our partner and mentor, Pemaron, she started this with microbials. A lot of companies came along with that. Coppert is one of them as well from Europe, and so many more to mention. If you look at them, they started putting their resources towards biotic stress management by the bioproducts, and a lot of them came into the abiotic stress management. I can guarantee you, if you start looking for the solutions for abiotic stress and biotic stress management with the foliar and the soil applied solutions, there are plenty of them out there. Just try to find them. We are always there to help. This is just an example. When you are planning your product solution, always look at all the stages. This is one example from one company. Always look at how there are different adjuvants and products in the bio category which can be used for your needs, and you don't have to depend too much on chemicals. Last but not the least, before I open for questions, this particular segment needs sense of urgency. Because if we don't have sense of urgency today, folks, we will have only sense of regret tomorrow. I hope you liked it. I will open for questions now. Thank you so much.
Okay, so like before, if you have any questions for him, you can send those in via the QR code in your brochure. However, to kick us off, I'm curious, Roger, can you share, you've been in agriculture for a long time. Where have you seen the most exciting change since your start in the 80s?
So if you remember, there was a green revolution in 70s, 80s, and 90s. And after that, that particular change, which I grew up with, we started seeing a lot of evolution and revolution. But what we have realized, we lost track of sustainability aspects. And this is where the real change is starting now. And the bioagriculture, the precision agriculture, all of that is helping in that momentum. And you can mark my words, that this is going to be the second green revolution globally, and we all have to be part of it.
Yes. My favorite question of the day has been, what is your competitive advantage, or what are you most proud of? Would you mind sharing with our audience here in Fargo what you're most proud of?
This is fantastic you asked me, because you must have noticed that I generally, in the plug and play, I thought I'm coming at a keynote speaker, so I'm not going to self-promote my businesses. So that's why I didn't want to mention any of that. However, if you are talking about our particular business model, I will share that for sure. And it goes, I practice what I preach. And most of the startups, fiscal responsibility is the biggest problem. And at the same time, the differentiation with your innovation. So after seeing so many companies across the globe, especially us in the US, if you ask me how many companies are really making profits, I'm not saying the revenues, profits, in the BioAg industry, very few. So my biggest differentiation in both my businesses is that it's a totally partnership, win-win partnership model. We never say that everyone who joins us is going to become a millionaire or rich. What we say, if you have a passion for sustainable agriculture and you can produce results, you will make money. But money should not be the goal. If the money is your goal, we are not your business. So that's our business model for both service-oriented business and the product-oriented business. In the product-oriented business, our biggest differentiation is that we don't waste any money on something which is already being available or is available in the industry with our friends or colleagues. So what we do, we optimize their capacities, bring our innovation through some of our partners, and we call them innovation partners. Then we take that innovation, which is totally unique, through our business development partners globally to become one of the best commercialization platform for bioagriculture sustainable products across the globe. Within 1.5 to 2 years, we have already started commercializing our products in more than 16 countries. Because our differentiation comes from our innovation, and we are not depending on one technology or the other. For example, we are not only depending on microbial, or we are not only depending on amino acids, or we are not only depending on peptides. What we are saying is, hey, farmer or dealer, whatever is your best suitable need, we are going to meet that need. And this is our differentiation. So whatever the farmer needs, we are able to provide different technology platform, best of the best, under one umbrella globally.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for calling in today. We super appreciate it. And we'll talk to you soon. You have a good one.
Thank you so much.
How do you say you wave? You still wave. Yeah, you still wave.
All right. Well, before we get into our awards, we're going to bring up a couple of folks with the Plug and Play team and give them some recognition for the work that they're doing. So we've got both Sarah and John up here. Sarah as program manager, of course, and John as ventures associate. And we're going to give them the floor to say a few words.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you, Roger, and thank you, Aaron, for being here keynoting and sharing your incredible insight and all the work that you guys are doing now and have in the past for agriculture. So my name is Sarah Thorsrud. I'm the program manager for the Plug and Play Agtech vertical here in Fargo. I'm super excited to be here, and it is true, we are in our 4th cohort in a 1.5 years. That's crazy, but it's been really fun working with all the startups and the partners, the mentors, and all the collaborators in the community. And so every batch, we like to highlight a startup that has really done a lot of work in agriculture, that has made an impact, that's paving a path for innovation, and that has been really engaged with Plug and Play and has shown an interest and found it to be beneficial in this accelerator. And so this batch, this startup loves North Dakota so much, he decided to open an office here. And so we would like to present this to Soiltech Wireless. So I'd invite Asan Sultan to come up and accept this.
received a lot of emails from you, and none of them included this. So shocked. I can only say good things about North Dakota, Plug and Play, Grand Farm. So yeah, still shocked. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I will continue to support the region. We'll be opening an office here. We'll be hiring people here. And I hope I can stay connected with Plug and Play, even though we've technically graduated today. But I'll be working with the Grand Farm for a long time to come as well. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Mann. I'm the Ventures Associate here, and I have the pleasure of working with both the startups before they join the program and during, as well as our partner corporations. And so I'd like to highlight a specific partner who's been with us since the very beginning, has been very supportive, and has been very proactive in helping us grow the ecosystem here. So I would like to present this award to OCP North America. And Zach, if you'd like to come up and say a couple of words. Don't look too excited.
Big surprise. Some like to say we save the best for last. So we are the fourth founding partner, and we're in batch 4. So not as much of a surprise, but didn't have any prepared remarks. But again, it's great. Really excited that we actually were able to do this in person. It's great to be here in Fargo with all of you, almost a good contingent of the startup. So yeah, look forward to further collaboration.
A big part of our programs are mentor office hours, and so we couldn't make these programs happen without them. So we just want to give a huge thank you and shout out to them. They do donate their time, their knowledge, and they share it with us, our startups, our partners, and all of our collaborators. So we just wanted to say thank you very, very much for supporting Plug and Play.
And last but not least, the rest of our partners, not only OCP, but Bremer Bank, CHS, and Microsoft, plus the Grand Farm. Can't forget you guys. You've been instrumental in helping grow this ecosystem and bringing us in, getting us involved. It's been a really challenging year and a half, if I'm being honest. COVID made things quite hard when a lot of it is focused on in person. So without you guys, none of this would be possible. So thank you guys so much. And that's it for today. I can smell the food. It's ready. So for those of you who are online, we'd love to see you in person next time so you can enjoy the food with us. But this concludes the program. Let's eat.
Right.